now everyone, Matt here from the Star Wars Time Show, just giving you a spoilers warning before this deep dive. Star Wars fans, if Andor isn't your cup of Jawa juice, that's perfectly fine. To each their own, as they say. But in my opinion, after taking in episodes 7 through 9 of its second season, it's hard for me not to proclaim it as some of the best constructed Star Wars from top to bottom of all time. The brilliant pace, guided by excellent writing and supplemented with masterful cinematography and a foreboding score, provided for some of the most intense emotions a fan can experience watching the dramas of a faraway galaxy play out. Seriously though, the score deserves its own credit this week due to how well it aided in making the audience feel nearly sick from anxiety as the rapid beats picked up pace to ensure your heart would match the rhythm of the drama unfolding on screen. It's nearly impossible not to go full hyperbolic while describing how excellent, nay, how damn perfect this Andor Season 2 arc was. It doesn't get much better than the white-knuckle-fueled moments of Episode 8 and the massacre which then bleed harmoniously into Episode 9 and the political fallout that befalls Mon, Erskine, who we learned was a Luthen plant, so cool lore ad, Cassian, and anyone else caught up in Luthen's decades-long plan of rebellion. What made these events so tense is the fact that Ghorman and the fallout from the massacre had been brewing since the first episode of this season. Thanks to the 3-episode arc per year formula, we've been able to see the Empire's plan for Ghorman go from boardroom talk to the full-on orchestration of the massacre, which has been canon for some time, but never fully fleshed out like we got in this arc. So much lore has been added to this canon event now, that not only honors what came before it in Legends, which was accomplished with the Tarkin Massacre talk from the last arc, but by also honoring existing Star Wars Rebels canon for the event that causes Mon to finally leave the Senate and lead the Rebel Alliance. Tony and his team really did thread the needle on fully fleshing out the Ghorman Massacre, while also respecting existing canon, and in some cases, enshrining Legends tales about the major event as canon to provide the greatest portrayal in history as to why Ghorman was the push Mon and the galaxy needed to fully rebel against Palpatine's regime. This is a type of world building I love, and one of many reasons why Lord Gilroy's Andor Season 2 has been so damn well done. For example, we now know that Luthen and his team had involvement in Ghorman. Heck, Cassian and Wilmon were present for it and fought against the Empire. Then there's the nugget of the massacre being where Cassian found his future droid companion K2SO. Not to mention getting deeper insights into why the Empire really pressured the Ghor and how callous they were about it. We also learned that people like Dedra and the ISB were behind the lighting of the match that sparked the massacre in the first place. I mean, the Empire literally shot its own soldiers to get the party started, and then sold the idea that an insurrection was taking place to justify their brutality. This is what thoughtful writing can achieve, and once again, it was on full display in this arc. The masterful lore drops and world building continued in Episode 9, which fully cemented Mon Mothma as an all-star Star Wars character after being nothing more than a figurehead in her ROTJ debut and beyond. Her speech was amazing and very on the nose for what happened on Ghorman and how the Empire lies to the masses. It was hard not to feel like she was speaking to all of us about the dangers of ignoring the truth and facts, and how monsters wield propaganda to inflict horrible things upon the masses. Seeing the speech really helps to cement Andor's events to other shows set during this era, specifically Star Wars Rebels. Fans first heard parts of this speech in a Rebels episode called Secret Cargo, as the Ghost crew listened to it on the Hollows, so it was a bonus to witness her delivering it live, and how damn tense the moments were leading up to her delivery. What's even better now is that seeing exactly how Mon escaped Coruscant through the aid of Cassian and Luthen's assets will only add more weight and meaning to Mon's appearance and speech above Dantooine in the Rebels episode. We now know what she went through to get to that moment, and how years of secrecy, cloak and dagger work, and a bit of luck led her there. To make these new lore additions even sweeter, Tony and his team took nothing away from Mon's moment in Rebels. In fact, like I said earlier, they've only made it meatier and more justified with an interconnected plot now that even includes the mention of Gold Squadron being involved. The level of care to honor existing canon is appreciated, and I mean they even made a point to explain that the rebels are rewriting the story of Mon's rescue to fit the narrative that an alliance of rebels from Yavin saved her, and not Cassian from Luthen's shadowy assassin spy operation. It's chef's kiss narrative stuff, and I highly suggest everyone watch episodes 8 and 9 of Andor Season 2, and then head right to the Secret Cargo episode from Rebels. The handoff should be perfect, and that's just another reason why this arc is a clear 10 out of 10. I'd be mistaken if I also didn't express my appreciation for the new Yavin-based lore this episode brought. It was cool to learn that Luthen and the Yavin group didn't get down at all. I think we all expected the grandfather of the rebellion to be highly involved in its most major base, but that was not the case at all. In fact, even Cassian had started to pull away from Luthen and his style of rebellion in favor of building an army and community of rebels on Yavin. Then you had the whole messenger prophecy delivered by the Force Healer, which not only finally brought the concept of the Force and how people embrace or do not embrace it to Andor, something some fans have been clamoring for, but also foretold Cassian's future and how important he will be to the galaxy. Does the Force have a plan for him? It seems so, even though he refuses to put any faith into what was told. I don't think the lady was hinting he was Force-sensitive like a full-on Jedi, but rather the Force was letting her know that this man is key to righting some of the wrongs inflicted upon the galaxy since the Sith took it over decades ago. If you think about it, Cassian does become the ultimate messenger for the galaxy when he and Jyn Erso transmit the Death Star plans to the rebels, which leads to their first major victory against the Empire and more bodies for their cause. Don't even get me started on the Bix thread that took place on Yavin. Holy emotions. I'll touch on that in top moments. Speaking of top moments, here they are. I just went on and on about how cool it was to learn more about Yavin and to see how Cassian was an early resident even though his dude Luthen wasn't involved at all. So in general, I really dug all the Yavin stuff and the Force talk that took place in Episode 7. How could I not put the actual Ghorman Massacre on this list? I mean, it was so well done. Everything from the Ghorman March to the Plaza to them singing their anthem, Syril realizing Dedra played him and choking her out, and then the Empire sparking the melee by killing their own soldiers was just brilliant on all levels. The music especially shined during this moment, and I have to say the whole massacre and the horrors of it were perfectly showcased by Syril's state of shock in realizing that he helped the Empire commit this atrocity and that his blind loyalty to them made him complicit in the genocide. Speaking of our sad boy, his brawl with Cassian was intensely brutal, but also emotionally eye-awakening for him and his nemesis Cassian. You could feel Syril taking out his rage on Cassian, the man he blames for ruining his life, but once Cassian shocks him by not even knowing who he is, you could see that the hate started to leave him after realizing he's dedicated the past 3 years to hating a man that doesn't even know his name. So what was the point of being so enraged in the first place? While he earned that headshot he received from Rylance, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to see a potential babyface turn for Syril and him team up with Cassian after hating him for so long. But when you play with the Empire's fire, you always get burnt. So rest in pieces, you accounting legend. It was quick and frenetic, but you had to appreciate the first battle between Cassian and K2. This is not even remotely close to how I envisioned them hooking up, and yes, I know there's a comic book about it, but I found this portrayal to be pretty damn solid while also adding some cool lore to the Ghorman Massacre. The end of 8, with Dreena's call to the galaxy for help and to expose the Empire's lies, was a super emotional moment for our characters, but also for us fans. There was a great close-up of Cassian driving away and how racked he was, not to mention the shots of the Resistance members reeling from the destruction and death. Then you had Dedra's devastated reaction to what she just did, so it was a masterful, somber end to a very dark Star Wars tale. Episode 9 wasn't short on great moments, starting with the bunghole-clenching build-up to Mon's speech and the speech itself. Genevieve slayed the delivery, and the merits of her words extend beyond fantasy sci-fi. Just listen to what she says, and tell me it doesn't move you. It also fleshed out more canon for the speech itself, which was teased in Rebels years ago. Her escape with Cassian is the next top moment, mostly for the sheer level of drama it produced for everyone involved, including our lazy butts sitting on our couches watching. It was awesome to see Mon and Cassian meet for the first time, two people who have been at it since at least 5 BBY with Luthen without even knowing they were both on the same team. Again, moments like this, and this episode in general, really propped Mon Mothma up into a different tier of Star Wars character. This next moment was a gut punch to say the least, but Bix's Irish goodbye of sorts to Cassian is one of the most sad moments in all of Star Wars. It honestly may be the saddest moment we've ever witnessed, and it was all just voiceover dialogue. No one died, but we all felt like we were dying inside. It was hard not to think about my own life and relationships and what it would be like to make the choice Bix did, or to be Cassian and learn that my soulmate has left so I can realize my full potential and ultimately change the galaxy in a way that not too many rebels could say they ever did. This is a Star Wars show, so to experience the level of feels that this moment levied on me is to be applauded. And a quickie to close things out, but I had to list K2 coming to life. Now I did hear the tech say they swapped out its core, but it's looking like B2's core will not be involved like I've been speculating for the past 3 years now. It seems B2 really is just on his own, and K2's personality is a result of whatever Rebel droid core he was given. Seemed like a no-brainer to link the two droids together, but it doesn't seem to be the case now. At least our metal hero is here now, so plenty more from him is expected in the final arc of the season. Eggs and references time. We meet a Force healer, which has been a thing for a while, but more recently featured in Tales of the Empire and The Rise of Skywalker. We got a Draven appearance. He's not in his official Rebel General gear yet, but clearly a biggie on Yavin already. And then there's Cassian's U-Wing, which I thought would be a plot thread for the season, but not needed really. Vel mentions Dodonna to Bix while explaining how important Cassian is to the Rebels, and we all know Dodonna's importance to Yavin and that cell. At the hotel, one of the clerks mentions the Alderaan group, which is about a year's time will be blown up by the Death Star. Here we get a look at Cassian's full gun kit, which I believe is the same one from Rogue One. Speaking of Rogue, our hotel homie drops the "rebellions are built on hope" line that people like Jin say in Rogue One. K2 in pieces, but it's him. Mon's speech is referenced in Star Wars Rebels, but now we get to hear it in full. The gun Vel looks at is the one Cassian stole from Syril back in Season 1 and then brought to the Aldhani mission, which leads to the reveal that Melshi has joined the rebellion, Cass's bro from the prison and a Rogue One character. And finally, Draven discusses Gold Squadron, which we know from A New Hope and from Rebels when they got to assist in delivering Mon Mothma to Yavin. Phew. What a treat this arc was, my friends. I'm not sure the final arc can top it, not that it matters, but I do think Andor S2 E7 through 9 will be remembered as some of the best all-around Star Wars or sci-fi to ever grace a TV audience. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment, share it around, possibly become a channel member, because there's always time for Star Wars time, and if you're down with our content, the Force will be with you. Always.